is the value of your relationships? How much do you value them? Have you really thought about the connection that you feel from your relationships? And have you really thought about how you contribute to that relationship? I'm Jayne, and I want to share a few things with you that I've discovered. One of the things that I used to do was I loved the people in my life. I had good relationships with people, but I also noticed that I didn't really make them a priority. I wouldn't stop what I was doing to actually go and support them if they needed me. Like even physically, sometimes it was like, well, I might have something on, so I'd be there to listen, and I mean, true, I was having kids, I had all this other stuff happening in my life. But the thing was, when I started to realize that if I actually put time and effort into that relationship, if I stopped what I was doing, if rather than being in the car driving somewhere when, say, my mother really needed me, I just turned around and went to support her, the value in that contribution to our relationship was next level. And it's something that I really hadn't thought about much before. I look for the ways that I can give value to my relationships. And sometimes that's not easy, right? Because sometimes you want to give that value, but other people don't want to step in, because it really does take two people to add value to a relationship. But it's so fruitful. It's so fruitful because the value that you feel just becomes deeper and deeper. And the other thing I want to talk about relationships is that we often don't see all the things that are going on underneath. There are so many unconscious patterns in play. And when we turn up and we're simply here in this moment doing the relationship on one level, we miss so many things. Let me give you an example. So for example, if you're doing something that's really important to you, say you're having a birthday party and you want it to be a certain way, and you've made choices that may put people offside. Your approach could be, well, stuff them, because it's my birthday party. I should be able to do what I want to do. Or it could be, you could also be one of those other people that does everything for somebody else and makes it right for somebody else and doesn't acknowledge your own comfort and your own feeling. I actually want to talk about a third way, because this is what I see all the time when we're talking about emotions, right? Our mind looks at things in black and white. There's this way or there's this way. But actually, there's always a third way, like a greater way, a way that is more integrative. And when I look for that and I find it, the levels of connection and interaction are so much deeper. So let me give you an example of this. So say I'm creating a birthday party and I want it a certain way, and I've said to people, this is how it's going to be. And some people have been put off by it. Some people might have a resentment by it. And I might be thinking, that's their problem. It's not my problem. I'm just doing what I need to do for me. And if they've got a problem, well, too bad. That's one way I could look at it. Or I could go, how much do I value this relationship? I'm not going to change what I'm doing because I'm meeting my own needs. However, I really value this relationship. So I might have considered actually ringing them up and saying, this is what I'm going to do for my birthday because it feels right to me. And I know that that may land on you as a feeling. I'd like to have a talk to you about this because it may make you feel something. And I really don't want you to feel anything. I'd love you to come to my birthday and be so supportive and be so happy about being there, because that would really mean a lot to me. So let's have a conversation about it. This is the thing that I noticed that we don't do. And I shouldn't say that, should I? Because some people do it. In general, we haven't been taught to think about building the connection when we take actions. Everything we do, there's an opportunity to build connection with that person. It's not about what we do or it's how we do it. It's how we're building the connection. It's always about the connection we feel underneath. Even when we're having a conversation with our partner, it's not even necessarily about the conversation that we're having and trying to get a need met. It's about the way that we're connecting underneath. That connection is what's going to build emotional safety and deep intimacy. And that's what we long for. That's in general what, as a human being, I long for. And I think the people I work with, they're longing for this beautiful, deep, intimate, emotionally safe connection in their life. If we're paying attention to the way we're connecting and what's going on underneath in our feeling worlds, we have much more opportunity of building that connection. So I want to share another example. I've noticed that in an intimate relationship, once when I was sharing from a deeply, deeply, deeply intimate space, I've opened up all of me, I'm completely vulnerable, and I'm sharing this part of myself. If the other person can't, and not that they don't want to, but if they can't move into that space because they have an unconscious pattern or some sort of wound that sort of stops them from completely opening up, what they will do is they'll push back on that energy. They'll resist that opening. They'll resist that connection. If I'm not aware of it, I can go, whoa. And for me, I can see that as a rejection. Or I can go, wow, I've just opened up this space. And they are unable to step into it at the moment because of whatever unconscious stuff is going on in them. They can't feel that beautiful, loving, intimate connection. So I'm left with a feeling, right? But if I know that, if I start to look at what's happening in the connection rather than look at what's happening on the surface, look at what's happening with the words, or look at what's happening, if I'm looking at the feeling, turning inwards and checking out what I'm feeling, how that landed on me. Oh, I've shared this and it's come back at me. Wow, I can feel that coming back at me. Okay, this is not a rejection. This is just where they're at. You know, they can't be loved fully. And so what is it in me that I'm in this relationship? Am I loving them fully? And I'm looking at the feeling in myself and I'm using it to empower myself in that moment. I'm understanding how I want to be loved. I'm going, do I want to be loved like this? I'm thinking about what it is that feels good for me. I'm looking at the words that I'm using. And this may sound like a lot of effort, but actually it's not. When you start to really work with your emotions, it's so natural. It's a natural flow, and the flow takes you towards harmony and empowerment. And I fully feel that it's a beautiful place to be. And when I watch the people that I work with start to use their emotions to heal their emotions, because it's what we have not been taught to do. We've been taught to do everything else in general, and I'm speaking the royal we. I know there are exceptions to that rule. I was always taught when I had a feeling, and not even to look at the feeling, but just to fix it, to go outside to fix it, to get my needs met outside. You know, I would do mindset stuff, I'd do affirmation, everything I did, and all those things help. But they don't create long-term lasting change and permanent change and empowerment in this moment and complete integration with my life experience in this moment. What creates that is using a feeling to heal the feeling. So bring your awareness to the feelings. Bring your awareness to what's going on in the feeling connection in between you and another person. Look at that and decide how much you value that. And if you value that, then put time aside for it. Make it a priority. You know, if it's with a parent, make it a priority. Be there for them. Don't be busy. Or if it's a child, or if it's a friend, or if it's yourself, hey, let's just start with you. That would be a great place to start. It's all about connection. The feeling that we have between ourselves and other people in our environment, that is what gives us that sense of fulfillment. Not what we're doing, not the stuff on the surface. The stuff on the surface is the way we get to that feeling. So use what's happening on the surface, look at what's going on, and reconnect with that. It's a very powerful place to sit. Sending you love for a beautiful day.